A 3-story hotel with a rooftop restaurant. That's what developers proposed for this Times Square property. I'm your Fort Myers Beach community correspondent, Anvar Vruziev, so I had to find out why the developers withdrew their application during their town council meeting Monday. Since we last told you about the project, the developers scaled it down. Monday, it was presented with 3 floors instead of 4. But the cuts weren't enough to sway the council's opinions, who all wanted to send the project back to the local planning agency.
My wish is that you would have taken this back to the LPA to vet out some of these things before it came here.
It would be my preference to remand this back to the LPA and go through the proper process.
Go back when I met with him to the LPA as well.
Go back to LPA, get some of these details put into place.
It was my first ask to ask him to go back to the LPA.
When the project was presented to the local planning agency last month, it was unanimously denied. However, the developers still proceeded to the town council meeting, but right before the vote, they withdrew their application, stating that they prefer a withdrawal over a denial.
You know, it's a very sensitive piece of property here in Fort Myers Beach. Times Square is kind of the hub, if you will. And when you come over that bridge and you see that beautiful Gulf, that property is right in the middle of that picturesque view.
Currently, legal action and council member recalls are still active for the town. So I asked why this particular project is being sent back and not the others. Why haven't the council been as tough on previous developers? What would you say to that?
Well, I think somebody who would say that has a perspective about a particular project. Every project's different. We've given them all really thorough looks. And again, if you liked what we decided, you're going to like our process. And if you didn't like what we decided, you're probably not going to be happy with the process.
They wish you guys were that thorough in the previous projects that you have approved. So what would you say to that?
Well, I'd have to dispute that because I think we're very thorough in all the process. Each project is different, so that we have to know the ins and outs and the rules and regulations.
The council members brought up concerns about the density increase of the proposed hotel rooms. Only 9 are currently allowed compared to the 31 requested. The developers declined to comment on the withdrawal at this time. We'll continue to monitor the project as it makes its way back to the local planning agency. Reporting from Fort Myers Beach, Anvar Vruziev, Fox 4.